Hey guys, Mr. Tiggles here, coming at you through the interwebs, and as I'm sure you all know already, I've been playing some Overwatch lately, and today I wanted to go ahead and do a Bastion Strengths and Weakness guide. Out of all the characters in the game that I've had a chance to play at this point, Bastion has to have the most glaring strengths and biggest weaknesses out of anybody. His mid-range damage output is something to be admired. He melts faces like a true champion, and in the right situations, he can kill an entire team. At first, it may seem like there's really nothing to learn. Just plant yourself somewhere and spray your load all over everything in sight. Simple. Just like they do it in the adult films you used to steal from your mommy's closet, right? Wrong. At this point, most people have figured out how to get around all of Bastion's cheap tactics and find his soft, squishy weaknesses. And while some noobs will fall victim to your turret over and over, veterans will drop you in a second and piss on your rusty metal corpse. To be truly good with Bastion, like any other character in the game, you really need to learn when and how to use his different forms, when and where to plant himself, and what characters to avoid, also who to be BFFs with. First, I want to touch very briefly on Bastion's different forms. They're all really simple. As a robot, Bastion doesn't really give a fuck about complex or shiny tactics. There's going to be no stealth here. When threatened, Bastion kills. Plain and simple. His first and most mobile form is his recon form. This is Bastion's default and, like I said, most mobile form. His gun does moderate damage that does drop off at long distances. Really nothing to write home about here. Just use this form when you're traveling between locations or changing spots and if the enemy gets behind you. Bastion's asshole form, turret mode, makes him completely immobile, but he outputs a literal ass ton of kill power. Tanks, healers, shields, Bastion doesn't give two shits about any of this while in this configuration. And while he'll annihilate anything in front of him, sounds pretty badass, am I right? Well, kind of. Unfortunately, if this form is not used properly, he is very easily countered and can be killed quickly. I'll talk about countering this and how and what to avoid later on in this video. Bastion's final form, he changes into a tank. He does a pretty nuts amount of explosive damage in this form and gains a shield. This form is pretty awesome for killing bunched up groups of enemies, and multi-kills can build up pretty quickly when you use this form properly. Bastion also has the ability to heal himself. It's really useful, but there's not that much to say about it. Don't stand in the open, don't try to heal through fire because you'll get interrupted. It's good to note that you can pretty much use this heal ability in almost any form. A couple of little tips that I got here for you. First off, Bastion can actually switch forms while falling. So it's a really good strategy if you're on a ledge and you want to jump down behind the enemy team. You can actually start that switch to turret mode while you're dropping. So as soon as you're on the ground, you can just annihilate. Second tip for you, he automatically reloads whatever gun he has when he switches forms. So sometimes it's actually faster to just switch forms as opposed to trying to reload his gun. Especially if you're in turret mode, it's almost faster to switch over to recon mode and then switch back into turret mode as opposed to reloading. And then you can actually relocate yourself or reposition yourself if you need to. Alright guys, moving on. We're going to go ahead and attack his strengths and weaknesses. First and foremost, Bastion is at his strongest when he's in a defensive situation, because he is stronger when he's not required to move. Payload maps in most cases will not be your strong point. You may want to choose a different hero if your team is attacking. Some will go into turret mode and ride the payload, and I mean this can work if you have the correct team makeup, but if not, well then you're really just going to be one big shiny metal target. Also, Bastion has a very large hitbox, and like the biggest headshot box located on his back while he's in turret form. This makes you really easy to kill because you can take 2 times the damage when somebody hits you there. For the last part of the video, I actually just want to kind of take a look at some of the different characters that are strong against Bastion, and some of the characters that you really want to be friends with on your own team. First and foremost, his most glaring weakness are going to be characters that are really mobile and really fast, that have the ability to get behind him easily. Notably, the main ones here are going to be Tracer and Genji. Genji can not only use his cyber agility to maneuver behind you pretty friggin' easily, but his deflect ability will stop all of your damage and can easily kill you if he reflects that back onto you. If you see a Genji going to deflect, stop shooting. Don't do it, you'll die. It's a bad idea. If anything, go into recon form and run the fuck away, because it'll kill you fast. It's ridiculously fast. You know, really, I mean, in most cases, if Genji doesn't see you, you can kill him pretty quick. But if he's coming at you, you probably should just run. The same with Tracer. With Tracer's teleports, she can just literally get behind you and shoot you in your weak spot before you can even react to her. So you definitely want to avoid Tracer. There are a couple other heroes that are pretty quick and get behind you as well. Notably like Reaper. He can also be a pain, though he's a lot less of a pain than the first two. The best way to really counter any of these speedsters, short of trying to avoid them completely, would be to make sure that your back is firmly planted against a wall, or preferably in a corner, and by being in an area with a ceiling. That way you avoid Genji being able to do his ninja bullshit and get over your head. Also, some other people like that are a little less of a threat would be like Pharah. She can fly, things like that. Snipers are also really going to spell your downfall, namely Widowmaker and Hanzo. The best way to combat these assholes is to avoid placing yourself in a portion of the map with really long sightlines. The only way to really avoid this would be if you know the other team isn't running any snipers. If this is the case, then fuck it, who gives a shit. But for the most part, just avoid long sightlines, because Bastion is not good at long range. The last terrible matchup I have for you today is going to be Junkrat. This guy's actually really terrible against Bastion because of his ability to bounce grenades off of things. He can ricochet them around into locations that you can't shoot him back. So he can hide behind walls, he can hide around corners, and he can still freaking kill you. This makes him really annoying. Really, honestly, the best way to combat a Junkrat is to meet him in recon form, or to place yourself somewhere that his grenades cannot easily bounce off of you. Other than that, it might be best to let your teammates deal with Junkrats. Alright guys, the last part of the video I have for you today is the people on your team that you should be BFFs with. You need to be the glue on these guys' fingers. As much as they try to peel you off, you're still there. And namely, front line is Reinhardt. Reinhardt's going to be your best friend. He's going to throw his shield up, and you aren't going to have to worry about protecting yourself at freaking all. Get behind a Reinhardt shield and go to freaking town. A really good Reinhardt and Bastion combo can pretty much take on an entire team if they play it right. Also, other people that you want to be teammates with would be Winston with a shield, for pretty much the same reason as Reinhardt. Also, anybody that can heal. Any of the healers are going to be a really good choice for Bastion as well. Well guys, if there's anything that you feel like I missed, let me know in the comments below. As always, crush the crap out of that like button if I was able to help you out here today, and make sure to subscribe for more of my shit in the future. I just wanted to thank you guys for being awesome. Ta-ta for now.